For some time now, FootJoy have been the #1 shoe in the golf market. So when they bring out a DryJoy shoe and they call it DryJoy's next advancement, you need to sit up and pay attention, because this means it's something completely different. And this is what the FootJoy DNA shoe is. They kind of went back to the drawing board and started again with looking at what their tour players wanted and what average player wanted, and come up with a shoe I think meets a lot of needs. The first thing you'll notice is how it looks. I think it's a great blend of being athletic but also being classic and stylish at the same time, because some shoes can get very athletic when they get very technical, but FootJoy managed to strike a good balance with this. A lot of the technology is in every part of the shoe. First off, they've got the snug fit collar, which is this padded collar around the entrance to the shoe where you put your foot, and it sort of grips the top part of the foot without having to sort of grip the lower part of the heel, and that actually creates a little bit more gap, I think, in the heel area below where the top part of your ankle is. So much so that I think FootJoy is saying to people that through their fittings, people maybe should take half a size less when they're buying a DNA if they're used to other FootJoy shoes. So make sure you try before you buy. Now the upper itself is made from a special Pitard's leather, which has been treated to make sure that it is waterproof, and it's got a very smooth feel to it. It's very soft, it breaks in very easily, but it's still firm enough to hold your foot and last over a long period of time. There's all these sort of nice dots along the side of the shoe, which I think will look great provided they're clean. I'm sure they'll pick up quite a bit of dirt, so you may need to work to keep those clean. And what they also done with the styling of the shoe is to make it a bit wider across the forefoot, and that's something that's come out in their research. So it's a nice tight fit around the heel, but just that forefoot's a little bit wider, allows the toes to spread out, and that makes it really comfortable indeed. Now also on the upper is the tongue of the shoe, and in order to keep the shoe as light as possible, they've reduced the weight of the tongue, and I have to say it's very thin indeed. But in order to stop the laces biting, they've almost put a little pressure pad which is underneath the FJ logo, so that when you tie the laces, the knot of the laces is on the top of that, and it is cushioned against the top of your foot, and I have to say that works really well indeed. Moving on to the sole of the shoe, they completely redesigned this. It's a TPU sole, or thermoplastic urethane for those who are interested. It still has some of the OptiFlex channels which some of the other shoes do to help the shoe bend where you want your foot to be, but there's some very sort of aggressive lines in between the spikes to help grip the ground. As well as the molded grips on the sole, there's also some spikes, they're called stealth spikes. They're a little bit shallower than previous spikes, and they're very flexible and very comfortable to wear. They're actually quite close to a lot of the edges of the sole, because FootJoy have looked using foot plates to see where the spikes should be correctly positioned, and there's even one really right under the big toe on each shoe, and it is a little bit noticeable at address that you can see a couple of the edges of the spike. But I have to say, if you're looking at your shoes when you're swinging the club, then you're looking at the wrong thing. Now combining with the sole on the outside, there is a new insole as well. And we have a footbed here which uses fine-tuned foam, and they've done a lot of research into this. It's actually quite a robust footbed. It's got a slight contouring around the arch of the foot, and it feels very comfortable indeed. It almost feels a little bit springier, I have to say, but it does work very well with the inside of the shoe, which in itself is a little bit contoured. So if you do use orthotics and you need a neutral shoe, this might not be the shoe for you. The memory foam on the insole doesn't remember your foot from one day to the next, so it always conforms to your foot as you put it on each day, and that really helps with the overall comfort of the shoe. Overall, I think this is an excellent shoe from FootJoy. I think they're going to have a long and successful career, if you like, with the FootJoy DNA. And if you're in the market for a shoe, I know it's a little bit more than most, but trust me, it'll be well worth the investment. That's all from me today, so for more reviews on all FootJoy products, please visit the website at golfalot.com.